Hi everyone, let's do this question number 1. Using the numbers only, state the percentage of nitrogen in clean air. So nitrogen in clean air, we know that 78% is nitrogen, 21% is oxygen, and the remaining are the other gases like noble gases and carbon dioxide and stuff. The next one is the operating temperature for contact process in degrees. So the contact process is industrial process of making sulfuric acid. So the ideal temperature is 450. The next one they ask you is the number of metals in period 3 in the periodic table. So period are the horizontal lines, and if we see the period 3, so we have sodium and magnesium, and then we have aluminum here. So we have only 3 metals. So the next one they ask is you the number of halogen that are gas at room temperature. So halogen is a group 7 in the periodic table, and if we move from top to bottom, we have fluorine, then we have chlorine, then we have bromine and iodine and so on. But at room temperature we only have fluorine and chlorine, they are gases, and moving down they more condense, and bromine at room temperature is liquid, and then iodine is solid, and if we move down they are also solid. So what is the typical temperature for the fermentation of aqueous glucose in degrees? So the typical temperature for fermentation is 35 degree. That is the optimum temperature that we use. So what are the number of unbranched structure isomer of butene which decolorize the aqueous bromine? So because they mention here the unbranched structural isomer, so these are only two unbranched structural isomer. We can only change the position of the double bond. We cannot make any branch. So we got only two isomers. The next question, number of covalent bonds in one molecule of ethanol. So if you draw this diagram of ethanol, so you see we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and 8 covalent bonds in one molecule of ethanol. Question number H, number of carbon atoms in one molecule of propyl butanoate. So if you see the structure of propyl, you have 3 carbons, and but mean 4 carbons. So in butanoate we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7. We got 7 carbons. So write the number 7. The next question, what is mean by covalent bond? So we know the covalent bond is a bond that is because of sharing of electron between non-metals, so they can complete their shell. So it's a strong electrostatic force of attraction between the pairs of electrons of two nuclei. Next question is chlorine oxide is a simple molecule with covalent bond. What is mean by 1 and the name chlorine 1 oxide? This actually represent the oxidation number. If we know that oxygen oxidation number is -2, so oxidation number actually shows us that an element gain or lose how many electron. So as oxygen has 6 electron in the outer shell, so the oxidation number of oxygen is -2, because we have 2 chlorine here, so each one has +1, so that's why the total charge is 0. So the chlorine is +1, the oxidation number. Next question is the dot and cross diagram. So we need to fill the electrons in the outer shell, so we need dot and cross. So oxygen, because oxygen have six, these are the oxygen 6 electrons in the outer shell, and it required 2 more electrons with, and it share 1 electron with each chlorine, because chlorine, it has 7 electrons in outer shell, because chlorine, the atomic number of chlorine is 17, so it has 17 electrons. So the first shell has 2, the second shell has 8, and the third shell has 7 electron, so it requires 1 more electron. And oxygen requires 2 electrons, so we can draw the X to show that the electrons of chlorine, and dot we can show electrons of oxygen, and we complete the outer shell. Remember, when you are drawing this dot and cross diagram, you just need to show the outer shells only, outer shell of electrons. Next question is, in terms of structure and bonding, why Cl2O boils at low temperature and do not thermally decompose into constituent element like Cl2 and O2. You know, this is a covalent compound, and covalent compound, the intermolecular forces are not very strong. That's why they are like mostly gases. Their melting boiling point are not very high. But if you see the bonding in the chlorine or in the oxygen, the bonds are strong. So the covalent bonds between chlorine to chlorine, this is much stronger, and if you see oxygen to oxygen, this bond is also very strong. The next question is, give 2 reasons why chlorine oxide is a poor conductor of electricity. To conduct electricity, we must need free ions or free electrons. So they don't have any free electrons, because you see the structure, all the electrons are bounded in the shells, so they cannot conduct any electricity. Carbon and silicon oxide both exist as a giant covalent structure. Giant covalent mean they are bigger structures. Their melting point, boiling point is very high. So they ask, name a giant covalent structure of the carbon that can conduct electricity. So we know that only graphite has the free electrons because of the double bond, and that double bond can conduct the electricity. They have free electrons in the double bond, so that can move and conduct electricity. So that's why the graphite in some experiment we can use as a electrode. The next question is, identify the particle that is responsible for the conduction of electricity in covalent structure of carbon. So the particle that is responsible for conduction is electron. Next question, the silicon oxide contain silicon atoms and oxygen atoms. So the next figure shows the part of giant covalent structure of silicon oxide. So complete the diagram by adding the symbol of each of the 9 atoms shown. We know that in bonding of silicon oxide, each silicon atom is bounded, surrounded by the 4 oxygen atoms. So you can see here, like this silicon, so the surrounded by 4 oxygen atom, and each oxygen atom is surrounded by 2 silicon atoms. So for every oxygen, the surrounded left, right, or up, down is silicon, and every silicon, the next one will be oxygen. Next question is about the electrolysis. So electrolysis, we know that it's a lysis mean breakdown, and electro mean using electricity. So the definition of electrolysis, we know that it is the breakdown of ionic compound, so by using electricity. So the filling the blank is like the decomposition of compound. So what compound? Ionic compound. Ionic compound like sodium chloride or magnesium oxide. So they are all ionic compound. Ionic mean ions. So the metal and non-metals. When molten or aqueous by the passage of electricity, electric current. Okay, so next question is also about electrolysis of aqueous copper sulfate, CuSO4, and they show us this diagram, and the electrodes are made of platinum metal. Platinum is also inert, uh, inert, and it can be used electrode like graphite is also inert. And the question state whether the mass of cathode cathode is negative, electrode increase, decrease, or remain same when platinum electrodes are used. So the mass on the cathode increase because the copper will deposit, because copper is the positive charge, and it will go to the uh, cathode. So cathode is the negative terminal, and it will deposit over there, and it will increase the mass of the electrode, because positive attract the negative. So all the metals deposit on the cathode, so mass increase. As it will deposit more and more, the mass will increase more and more. Next question is describe the change in appearance if any electrolyte when platinum electrodes are used. So if we use any platinum electrodes, the blue color will fade, because more and more copper will deposit on the electrode, so the blue color will be disappear. Next question, describe what is seen at anode. Anode is our positive terminal when platinum electrode are used. So you see here the oxygen gas. So when at anode, as oxygen will move up, so we'll see some like bubbles. You can also use word fizzing. So what is the ionic equation for the reaction at anode? Because we get oxygen at anode, so the ions that convert into take part at reaction at anode is OH, and they change into water uh, and oxygen and 4 electrons. These 4 electrons, they will move to the cathode side, and copper that copper need electron, so that's how copper will get electron. The next question is electrolysis is repeated using copper. So now we have used the copper electrode instead of nickel. State whether the mass of the cathode increase, decrease, or remain same when the copper electrodes are used. So the mass will increase. The mass will increase by if we're using the copper electrodes, because the same thing will happen. The copper will deposit on the cathode, so its mass will be increased. Describe the changes in appearance if any of the electrolyte when copper electrodes are used. So the appearance will not change, because at the same time from the anode the copper will ions will um, deposit, they will come into the solution, so there will be no change in the appearance. The next question is aluminum is extracted from its purified ore by electrolysis. So what is the name of ore of aluminum? So the name of aluminum ore is bauxite. So remember this word bauxite. And there is an also in IGCSE the ore of iron. So the name of ore of iron is hematite. That is also important, but you don't need to write here, you just need to write bauxite. Next question is, name the substance that is added to the process to reduce the operating temperature. Because bauxite, the melting point is very high, around 2000 degree. So we need a solution that is a substance, cryolite. So when we mix with it, the temperature reduce almost 1000 degree. The next question is, explain why the anode need to be continuously replaced during the process. Oxygen is produced at the anode made by the carbon. So because oxygen will react with more and more carbon, so it will change into carbon dioxide. So as more and more carbon will react, so our anode will be, the mass will be decreased. So we have to replace the anode after some time. The next question is, chromium is the element with the atomic number 24 in the periodic table. The main ore of chromium is chromite. So that is the formula of chromite. Complete equation for this reaction. So the reaction will be like this: chromium, when it react with carbon for purification, it change into iron, chromium, and 4 molecule of carbon monoxide. So just one disadvantage of extracting chromium by reacting chromite with carbon. So in this reaction, if you see, we get carbon monoxide, because carbon monoxide is dangerous, is a toxic gas. When anyone can inhale this gas, it can be dangerous for the health, and it can be very deadly. So carbon dioxide gas is toxic. So you can write this answer, carbon monoxide. Next question is, chromium can be mixed with nickel and other element to form stainless steel. Name the type of a substance that is formed when metal is mixed with other metal. So the word that we use is alloy. Alloy is a thing when we are made, when we mix metal with another metal or metal with non-metal, we increase its properties for better use. So alloy are much stronger, and they are good in use rather than pure metal like iron. If we add more carbon, it can be more useful, and the conductivity is also very good. So the name of the type is alloy. The next question is, a negative ion in this structure is this ion, and state the sum of the oxidation number in this ion. So if you see this is the sum, actually show us the how much charge this ion has. So it's -2. So oxidation number in this ion is -2. Determine the oxidation number of chromium in this ion. So the sum of ion is -2, and each chromium, because we have 2 chromium here, so we need we just put X, and oxidation number is 2, so we have 7 oxygen here. So that is equal to the sum, that is -2. So if we do the multiplication and the mathematics, that's X is +6. So each chromium has oxidation number of +6. So in this question, this is heated with this is a decomposition reaction, and it changed into water, nitrogen, and Cr2O3. So calculate the volume of nitrogen gas produced at room temperature in centimeter cube when 1.326 gram of ammonium chromate is heated. So as you see here, this 1 mole, this 1 mole, and here 1 mole of nitrogen gas is produced. So first we need to calculate the mole for one molecule. So they give us the mass 1 point, as we know that mole is equal to mass, our molar mass. So mass is 1.26 gram divided by the total molar mass. They give us here molar mass is 252. So the answer is 0.005 mole. As we know, the nitrogen is also 1 mole. So the mole of nitrogen will be also 0.05. 005, and 1 mole of any gas has a volume of 24, and if we do the calculation, that comes to like the answer is 120 centimeter cube. That is the volume that we get. The next question is, alkali metals are very reactive metal. What is the oxidation? State the group number of the alkali metal. So you know the lines from top to bottom, they are the groups. So we have 8 groups in our periodic table. So alkalis are the first group. So the group number is 1. So which alkali metal has the highest melting point? So the one that is on the top, that is lithium, has the highest melting point. As we move down, the melting point decrease. Which has the highest density? So as we move down, the density increase. So the alkali metal which is at the bottom is Fr. So the density of Fr is the highest. So which has the lowest reactivity? So you know the lithium, the size is very small. So the lithium element is very small. So the outer electron, if this is the nucleus, so the outer electron has the distance is very short to the nucleus. So the strong attraction. So the reactivity of lithium is very less. As we move down, the reactivity increase. Fr is the highest reactivity. So which burns with lilac flame. Lilac is like yellow kind of flame, so it's a potassium. Next is which is found in fertilizer to improve the growth of plants. So potassium is also used in fertilizer that can be used in the in the farming to improve the growth. The next question is, sodium sulfide is ionic compound. So we need to write the electronic configuration of ion in sodium sulfide. So sodium, the atomic number is 11, so it has 11 electrons. So the 2 are shown. So we need to draw an extra shell and put this dot for sodium atom. So it has 1 plus 1 charge. It is group 1, so it has plus 1 charge. Okay, for the sulfide, because it has minus 2 charge, it gained 2 electrons. So we need to show the electron in terms of dot. Okay, so this is very important. Remember to show these electrons in the form of dots, and because each electron is shared from this sodium, and this sodium give this electron, and you can put all the cross on to fill the electron shells, and same do with this sodium to complete the outer shell. So next question is, state the term that we given to the natural alkali atoms of the rubidium. So they show us the 2 isotopes. So the term we give is isotope, because isotope have same number of proton and electron, but they have different number of neutrons. Next question is, they ask you to write the number of proton, neutron, electrons in atom of rubidium. So the rubidium, the atomic number is 37. So the atomic number is same. Electron are also same, 37, but this one has a charge, so it lose 1 electron, so its number of electron is 36. and neutron we can minus 85 minus number of protons, so that is 48. So for this is 48, and with 87 minus 37, so that is 50. So here you see the number of neutrons are not same. These are equal, they are equal, but they are not equal because each one has lose one electron, but neutrons are different. So isotope, the main difference is they have different number of neutron. The atomic mass is different. So they ask you to calculate the relative abundance because we have two different isotopes here. So they give us the atomic mass of rubidium is one of the decimal place, that is 18.5. So we have to calculate the relative abundance. So relative abundance is very easy to calculate, and you can see 85, that's the atomic mass, and that is other isotope, and the 87 the mass of the other, with that is equal to 85.5, and by doing more calculation it almost 75%. Next question is, ethene is the first member of the family of similar compound which contain the alkene. State the term of the family of the similar compound which contain the same functional group. So if they have the same functional group, we call them homologous series, like alcohol or ethane, ethenes, alkenes. Determine the difference in relative atomic mass between C2H4 and the next member. So what is the difference in mass? So if you calculate the mass of this, so C2 is 12 into 2 plus 4, that is 28, and the next member will be C3 and H6, that is 12 multiplied 3 plus 6, that is 42. So if we 42 minus 28, that is 14. So the answer is 14. Write the symbol equation for combustion of ethene. So the combustion is a process of burning, so it will produce carbon dioxide and water. So don't forget to write the symbols and balance the equation. The next question, this shows us the reaction of ethene with steam. So it is make the alcohol, and the delta H is minus, so it's an exothermic reaction. The condition for this process is 300 degree temperature, and the pressure is 60, and the H3PO4 is used as a catalyst. So the question is, show the effect, if any, on the concentration of C2H4. C2H4 is important. You focus on C2H4 when the changes on the condition are applied: increase, decrease, or no change. So condition to change, the first, the temperature is decreased. So if we decrease the temperature, as the forward reaction is exothermic, if we decrease the temperature, reaction will move to the forward direction, and C2H4 will be, the mass will be decreased, because more and more ethanol will be produced. If the sum of C2H5 ethanol is removed, if you remove this one and store somewhere, so it means on this side there will be less and less C2H5OH. So reaction will again move to the right hand side, so this again decrease, it will be decreased. What about pressure? If pressure is increased, so if you see on this side, there's 1 mole and of C2H4 and 1 mole, so we have total 2 mole, and here we have 1 mole. So if you increase the pressure, the reaction will move to the right hand side, So again the C2H4 will be decreased. Last one more effective catalyst is use. So we know that in equilibrium, in Le Chatelier principle, there is no change if we use a catalyst. The catalyst has no effect on the direction of equilibrium, so there will be no change. Next question, in terms of collision theory, why the rate of forward reaction increase if the temperature increase? The forward reaction increase if the temperature increase because kinetic energy increase. The particle will move more faster, and they will collide, and the collision will be more successful, and the reaction will be more quick. So particles have more kinetic energy. If the temperature increase, there will be more frequent collisions. Furthermore, there will be more particles having energy over activation energy, and there will be successful collision. So reaction will be moving in the forward reaction. They show us a display formula, and they want you to write the molecular formula. It's very easy. You just need to count the number of carbons, oxygen, hydrogen, and oxygen. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 carbon, C5, and H is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and H6, and oxygen is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So O4, C5H6O4. That is the molecular formula. Why compound B is unsaturated? It is unsaturated because of these double bonds. So if a compound has all single bond, that is saturated, and if they have double bond, it means it is unsaturated. They ask you draw one repeat unit of the polymer form when B is undergo additional polymerization. So if it is doing any additional polymerization, the structure will look like this. Next question, explain why 1 mole of compound B react with 2 mole of sodium hydroxide. So it react with 2 molecule of hydroxide because of these 2 COOH groups. And the next question, calculate the volume in centimeter cube. If the concentration of sodium oxide, this react with 0.11 mole of compound B. So this the mole is of NaOH is 2N molecule of B. That is, there are 2 mole, then that is we can multiply with 2 with 0.1, so that is equal to 0.2. And if we want to calculate the volume, so we, as we know that N is equal to CV, so V equal to N over C, and N is 0.2, and V is this 0.25, that is 0.8 decimeter cube. We can convert into centimeter cube by multiplying with 1000, and that is our volume.